Hi, everyone. Welcome to Start the Week with Spencer. This is our weekly webinar here at Doman International, where parents join us from around the world and bring their most important questions to help their children with special needs. So wherever you are around the world, go ahead and start typing your questions into the comments box. Whether you're joining us right now on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, if you post your questions, we will get to them in order. And I always say to families, don't wait until the very end. Usually in the last 5-10 minutes, we get 100 questions. Sometimes we can't answer all of them. So as soon as you arrive, post your question so you can be guaranteed an answer. Today, I have Julee Mahon joining me. Julee is one of the staff coaches at Doman International, and she works in our nutrition department. So as a staff coach, Julee's primary work each day is to support families on the program by coaching them through the process of doing their Doman Method program at home and answering their questions, helping them through challenges that they may face. And being a member of the nutrition department, she teaches families nutrition programs and gives them recommendations on diet and supplementation. And so I've asked Julee today to join to talk about supplementation. We don't really talk about supplementation much on Start the Week with Spencer. So I asked Julee to join us. Julee, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me again.
That's great to have you. Yeah. What did we discuss the last time you were on? Something nutrition related.
Nutrition resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So my memory is very, very bad. So the topic of today are 5 supplements for better health and brain development. Now, before we jump into talking about supplements, I want to add a little bit of a disclaimer. I'm going to ask Julee to do the same. We are not here to tell you that your child should take specific supplements because for 2 real reasons, right? The first is that some of you may have children we've never met before, and it just wouldn't be right for us to give supplement recommendations for a child we've never seen. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is for some of you who are already on the Doman Method program, you might have, well, of course, if you're on the program, you already have one of our nutritionists guiding you and coaching you. And so any questions that you have, if you're currently on the program, need to go to your staff coach and to the nutritionist who's working with you. So today, Julee and I are going to be talking very generally about supplements, but what specific supplements can help your kid? Julee, anything you want to add to that disclaimer?
Yeah, I think you covered a lot of it. In terms of supplements, we at Doman International only recommend clean, non-toxic, non-additives, dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free, dye-free supplements. Today's webinar is just for educational purposes. If anyone is interested in any of the supplements that I'm talking about, please contact your staff coach. Do not start any supplements on your own under unguided recommendations. And if you notice any supplements your child is currently taking that is causing some kind of reaction, please stop the supplement right away and let your staff coach know.
Great. Thanks, Julee. So Julee, maybe before we jump into the actual supplements themselves, what does the Doman International Nutrition Department ask of families before we usually provide supplement recommendations? So for that first appointment, what are families usually, what information are they giving us so we recommend the right supplements?
Yeah. First off, filling out the developmental review, telling us if your child has any allergies that we need to be aware of, whether it's to environmental things or food. That would be number 1. Number 2 would be all of the lab work is super helpful in seeing what we kind of have to, what we're working with and where we can help support the body. Our first point of attack is always food, right? How do we get what we need from food? And if we can't get what we need from food, how do we then introduce supplements to help from what we can't get through food? So the lab work, whether it be blood work, stool samples, urine samples, an OAT test, not telling everyone to go out and get blood work done and submit them to your staff coach. But if you're coming for an appointment, those are the things that we need to help out, to create the custom program specifically for your child.
Great. Thanks, Julee. So, Julee, how are we going to name these 5 supplements? Are we doing them in some kind of order? Or is it like best, or are these just random?
These are I went through a lot of the programs that we do as a nutrition team, and I've kind of gone through the ones that are the most popular that we recommended, um, and kind of gone that route instead of like ones that are really more specific towards certain lab results that we see. So I've started out with a couple to help with all the supplements I've listed today help your child grow stronger, stay and have a balanced immune system, and help brain function and gut function.
Perfect.
If it's okay with you, I will get
Yeah,
into
start with the first one.
yeah. So the first one I recommended is vitamin D. Now, vitamin D does come in a few different forms. Sometimes we recommend vitamin D, which would be probably the D2 aspect of things, but more often than not, you're always getting vitamin D3. Whether it's D3 by itself or D3K2 to help with better absorption. Vitamin D is so important for a lot of our kids, whether their levels are deficient or need help, because it's also an immune building supplement as well. Helps with bone strength, brain health, immune support, and helps a lot of not just our kids, but people in general who can't get outside and get vitamin D from the sun. We have to supplement in some kind of different way because we can't get it from food. We can't get the levels we need from food. Vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, so it's helpful to take it with food, fatty foods. And a fun fact about it, it's called the sunshine vitamin. I didn't know that. But it's also super helpful to take in the morning because it does tend to give a little bit of energy to it, and you definitely don't want your child to have energy at the end of the day. We want to calm the body down at the end of the day to prepare for sleep. But we do more often than not see vitamin D levels out of range, like a child is not getting enough vitamin D, whether they're not spending enough time outside, which happens a lot during the winter time. If your child has a running program and they can't run outside, then they're not getting enough vitamin D from the sun. Then we have to supplement it in a different way. Some of the times we recommend vitamin D for the whole period, but more often than not, it's let's take it for a short period of time and for every day, and then move it towards maybe 3 times a week, depending on what the weather's like, what your child is doing or not doing outside. But in that sense, we offer it either daily, a couple times a week, or we just add it to the immune system enhancement protocol, which is a set of supplements gone over in your nutrition program to help build your child's immune system in order to get them to be healthy enough to do the program every single day. So the last thing we want is your child to continue to get hit by illness and you're not doing program. So we offer an immune system enhancement protocol, which is different for every child. I should say that a lot of the times the families think it's all the same supplements for each child, but it's not. That changes. But yeah, vitamin D, super important for everyday life.
Julie, am I right in saying that a very large percentage of kids with special needs are deficient in vitamin D?
Yes.
Is that right?
I would even go around saying a lot of people in general are deficient in vitamin
D. Yeah. Any specific brands? Again, everyone, we're not saying your child should take a specific, but are there specific brands of vitamin D that our nutritionists tend to gravitate toward?
We do gravitate towards more of a liquid supplement. So like there's a Thorn vitamin D3, there's now D3K2. Then there's some capsules, which are probably like California Gold. Yeah, those are some really good brands, and it does come in both liquid and in capsule form if that's needed.
Yeah, I take the liquid form and I find it's very easy. And I would imagine for a child who has swallowing challenges or chewing or they're unable to take capsules, that liquid form is probably the best, right?
Yeah. and adding it to the last little bit of food or a little bit of water, right? You have a set amount of water, you add your drops to the water, you drink it right up. It should have no flavor, and should dissolve really well. Mhm.
Perfect. Yeah, vitamin D, we've obviously been supplementing many children with vitamin D for a long period. And it's just, well, the research is clear that it's very good for immune system strengthening. I mean, I remember even early on during the COVID period, I was shocked that our health authorities were just not talking about vitamin D. Like, it's one of the easiest things you can do to strengthen the immune system. And it just never came up in conversation. I remember probably a month into COVID. So this is probably in March of 2020.
Mhm.
Dr. Aravind, who's our nutrition director, and I did a presentation on kind of an immune enhancement protocol that parents could be using with their kids during the COVID period. And of course, vitamin D was, I think, maybe the first supplement that Dr. Aravind recommended.
Mhm.
And our kids did amazing during the COVID period. I mean, of course, in the end, almost everyone ended up getting COVID,
Mhm.
but we had very, very few hospitalizations of our children. And keep in mind, many of the children we work with have, they're much more prone for respiratory illnesses because their lung function may not be perfect because of their brain injury. Sometimes their immune system isn't, or because they're not physically active, their immune system can be compromised. And our kids really, as a group, navigated the COVID period very, very well. I think because of their supplementation.
Oh, I believe that 100%. And something like vitamin D is so important. There's so much to it. It's like a super vitamin, right? That you can use it for immune health, brain health, mood support, strong bones and teeth, muscle strength and coordination, reducing inflammation. It's doing so much.
Yeah, Myra was saying I learned the importance of vitamin D from you way before the pandemic. Yeah, absolutely. And vitamin D is also one of the two supplements that I always take. So again, I'm deficient, but I found it to be very helpful personally. All right, I see that our colleague Colleen is here. Hi, Colleen. Hi.
Hello, hello. Sorry, I was muted. Hi.
So Julie, what's your second supplement that you've got on your list?
Yeah, my second supplement is omega-3. Omega-3 is an essential fatty acid. It has DHA and EPA. It's really important for brain development, focus, reducing inflammation. It is linked to improvements in attention and mood and learning. And there are different ways that you can take omega-3. There's the classic omega-3 liquids. There's cod liver oil. There's children's DHA. And in terms of our nutrition programs, it really depends on the kid which one we recommend. There are some really good brands. Our favorite one to recommend is Nordic Naturals, as well as some California Gold capsules. I know there are some out there, some recent formulations of omega-3 that has now come out that have added soy in them. So we definitely, as a nutrition team, make it a point to really look into omega-3 in particular recently, to make sure that the ones that we have recommended were not reformulated to add that soy in it. So it is one thing that we are looking out for, but super important, super great for brain health, brain function, and not necessarily something that we need to recommend to see in lab work, but we do recommend it a lot.
Julie, are we often recommending omega-3s for children with all different kinds of symptoms, or is it more for children with maybe cognitive challenges and kids with autism diagnoses?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of populations of kids can be helped by omegas?
I would say it's definitely probably more of one that we do recommend for kids who have cognitive difficulties, but we don't, because it is such a great supplement. And it's not necessarily something that we need to see on, like, you're not deficient in something. It's just super helpful to add on to what you're doing already. And add on to what you're doing program wise already too. So it's more often than not, I would say yes to that. But it's really one of those all around great supplements that can be given to anyone.
Yeah, and especially with the kind of modern, I don't know what to call it, modern American diet, modern Western diet.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it's probably becoming more of a universal diet. Omega 3s are, if you're eating a lot of processed foods, right, you're going to probably be getting fewer omega 3s. So that's another good reason to supplement.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When we see it with like symptoms of like dry skin or hyperactivity, low mood, anxiety, even sometimes constipation, we tend to recommend. There are other supplements too that help with those as well, but the omega-3 is also really helpful because then it involves, the brain health and brain function in there as well.
Yeah, Myra's pointing out it's the SAD diet. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so Julie, any other things besides the omega 3 that you want to say about omega 3s?
You can get that in omega-3 in a lot of food, fish, whatnot. So if your child isn't necessarily needing it daily, you may want to just only give it on days that you're not eating high omega-3 foods. And at the end of this, I could insert that into a comment on Facebook. So if people want to know what those are, I'll put that in.
Just returning to vitamin D for a second. When we have kids who are low in vitamin D, do we usually give recommendations about sun exposure, like for parents to try to reach a certain amount of sun exposure in a day?
We do. We try to tell families to get outside for at least like 30 minutes to an hour every day. A lot of the program is really helpful with that. If they're given like a running program, it's easier to do it outside, or a walking program on different terrains. So it's kind of built in there. But if your child is mobile and, taking them outside, it would be a risk because it's cold and things like that, then something like an added supplement is super helpful. Even there are times though when even if the kid is going outside a certain period of time, they still need
Yeah,
help.
you still need the supplement. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's third on your list?
Vitamin C, which I know is like probably one of the most popular supplements out there, but I guess in terms of bringing it up today is just to tell people, there's more to vitamin C than just immune health too. And I've been seeing with a lot of kids lately, different issues with iron absorption. And iron in particular is a really hard supplement on the body, especially for our kids. So it's not our first go-to in terms of adding a supplement to daily life. First, we try to introduce more iron-rich foods, and the best way to help iron-rich foods absorb the iron is with vitamin C. So whether it's with added vitamin C supplement, like a buffered vitamin C, which helps for it's easier and gentler on the stomach for a lot of our kids, but help with iron absorption with added iron-rich foods. So you can also get vitamin C in foods. But in terms of immune support, tissue repair and regrowth, antioxidant protection, again, nutrient absorption, and brain health and hormone function, vitamin C is really important.
I remember one doctor and nutritionist I was speaking to once told me that if you took buffered vitamin C and you sprinkle it on leafy green vegetables that are high in iron, that it helps increase the bioavailability of the iron. Like you'll absorb more iron if you sprinkle vitamin C on it. Is that true?
Yeah. I think I would first start with adding more like on the leafy greens, like vitamin C rich food, like either a pepper or strawberry or something like that, before going for supplement. But yeah, definitely, if that's the case, and we have recommended it before, taking the vitamin C along with the leafy green, super great.
I just want to repeat that because it's new for even me. So you're saying if you eat a vitamin C rich food coupled with a iron rich food, that will help you absorb more of the iron.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, give a few more examples of vitamin C rich foods.
Yeah. So we have like bell pepper, strawberries. They're not allowed on. They're not, or like orange slices that aren't necessarily on our diet, but do have vitamin C in them. So
Yeah,
like
citrus. Yeah.
yeah. So if you had like lentils, which is higher in iron, and some bell pepper, super great. Some beans and some strawberry, some leafy greens like this is the popular salad of mandarin oranges and spinach, right? They all help with
Strawberries and spinach too.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I guess also, putting again, we usually recommend parents to avoid citrus, but there have been circumstances where we have kids with very low iron counts, where sometimes we will, if you put some lemon on spinach or something like that, right, it can help them. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Lemon is super great. I would say it's the only citrus that I'm going to use the word allow, but that's not right. Have on our diet because it helps alkalizes the body. So having lemon on your leafy greens, super awesome, super great. Any leafy green, add a little bit of lemon. Yeah.
By the way, so before we get to supplements 4 and 5, we have some comments and questions. So Sandra asked first about leucovorin. I'm going to wait until the end for us to tackle that question because the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services recommended this recently. We'll come back to that at the end because it's an interesting topic. Ashley is saying that because Truman has been on the Doman program and encouraged me to get my older son's blood work done too, come to find out he's very deficient in vitamin D. Could explain a lot of symptoms he's had over the years, tooth decay and achy knees, etc. He's been taking vitamin D for years, but not necessarily a high enough dose.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's something really, dosage with vitamin D is something to talk to, your Doman International nutritionist about. But what I know from working with Dr. Aravind, who's our director of nutrition and health, and also Dr. Isabel Martineau, who's our medical director in Europe, is that very often people who take vitamin D are not taking enough of it. They need higher dosages. So I don't know. Do you have any additional thoughts on that, Julie?
I mean, definitely something that your nutrition staff member would give you the proper dose, when to give, how many times a day to give. And it's really important to pay attention to that because it's not necessarily the same as the dosage on the back of any supplement box. So if you're following the directions that you received on your supplement, it may not be what we're giving you to help assist your child or what they actually need.
Haley is asking what juice options are best to mix in supplements.
So, hi Haley. Sorry, Haley and Ashley are both my moms. So juicing wise, technically we would say to eliminate all juice, though we could probably debate like a celery juice on the program a lot of the time. So a celery juice or with water with lemon or in a smoothie are super great options to get the supplements in. Now, if your kid is having juice right now and it's, how do we tackle the reality of eliminating the juice and adding the supplements, I would work on slowly eliminating the juice and adding like watering it down or switching it to the celery juice or in fruit infused water is also okay. But I would work on that elimination of the juice while introducing the supplements.
And preferably a smoothie over juice if it's possible, you're saying.
Yeah. Smoothies, water infused, with fruit, water with just lemon. Sometimes most of the supplements like the vitamin D, which is fat soluble, you can add it to a little bit of food. So in your nutrition programs, if you come for an appointment, you get told when to give the the supplement and what you can mix it in, whether it's like water or food, or, the last little bits of food is when you'd want to do it. Just in case it does have flavor, it's not going to mess with the rest of the meal. It'll just be the last bites, and hopefully your child won't notice it and they'll just swallow it and it'll be fine.
All right. What's number 4, Julie?
Number 4 is magnesium citrate. It not only helps with constipation, it can help with supporting relaxation, support sleep, muscle function, healthy brain activity. And a lot of the time it's like the number one supplement on our constipation alleviation protocol. So once the families, if you receive that protocol because your child has and suffers from constipation, we make sure to work with you to get your child on the full elimination diet. That's step 1. And step 2 would be to add in some supplementation like magnesium citrate. Magnesium citrate is something that we give in the evening because it does promote relaxation. It does help sleep. So we don't want to give it in the morning because then your child may be tired and it would be harder to get program done. It is a supplement that we start with very slowly. So when we introduce supplements, we try our best to do it and give you schedule for 1 week at a time to make sure there are no issues with tolerance or an allergic reaction. But more often than not, magnesium citrate, we kind of take double time. So it may take about 2 weeks to get up to a full dose just to make sure your child is tolerating it well.
And by tolerating it, do you mean not having diarrhea? Is that the concern?
The concern would be tolerance to anything, whether they it's the complete opposite of it. Yeah, diarrhea, or now your child's not sleeping, or maybe they are more hyperactive. A lot of the times with vitamin C as well as magnesium, vitamin C can make your child more hyperactive. So we schedule out the supplements 1 week at a time to make sure that, if you do notice any changes or an allergic reaction, whether it's mild, like just a rash, or severe reaction, like the throat closing up and you need to call the emergency line, magnesium in this case gets double the amount of time to introduce to the full dose to make sure that your child is tolerating it. And if so, maybe if you get to the full dose, they're not tolerating it, but we're okay with half of the dose, then we may sit there for a little bit. But yeah, all supplements are given their own supplement schedule to make sure your child is.
Yeah. And I really want to emphasize here how important that is. That first of all, when parents add supplements, they do it one at a time. They do it, you do one new supplement at least, at the most, one new one a week, just so you can monitor the child. Because I think sometimes people have an attitude towards supplements that because they're not medication, they're somehow completely safe, or they don't come with serious side effects, but they can come with side effects. Just to give everyone an example, recently I was speaking to a family on our program last week, and their child started to have kind of anxiety, increase in anxiety. And parents were able to pretty quickly figure out what supplement was causing it, and they stopped it. But again, this was a pretty benign supplement that maybe for 99% of kids, no issues. But for that specific child, something didn't mix well with the child's physiology. So you just have to be very aware of that and careful.
Yeah. And it does happen with most of the time with the supplement that we don't see any issues with. And, it's kind of like a shock. Oh, like I didn't know vitamin D could do that. Yeah. It can happen to anyone. It can happen to any one of our kids. And that's why we start it. And we start the supplements really slow, one at a time. Your nutrition staff member will make sure to go over the schedule with you. If the schedule doesn't make sense in one way it's written, we'll write it out a different way to make sure that you know what you're doing and when. We recommend most of the time, getting your calendar at home every Sunday. You add in what's new supplement that week. And when you're doing your food log, you make sure there's a side on the part on the side that says, did you notice anything different with your child today? right? Oh, Sally, missed her afternoon nap. Okay, well, now it's day 4 and Sally's missed her afternoon nap every single day. Maybe it could be due to, an added supplement or even an added food. So that's why, as well as not adding multiple supplements at a time, we're also not changing the routine and adding in different foods and different supplements on the same day, because then you get to day 4 and you're like, I don't know if it's from vitamin C or from the added avocado that she's been eating for 4 days. So it's really important to make sure you organize yourself in that sense of, okay, we're not doing anything different the next 4 days.
Myra's asking, what are brands of magnesium citrate that we might use?
I think there's a Trace Minerals magnesium citrate that is a liquid, and there is a California Gold has some capsules. What's the other one? Now Foods has capsules as well. Again, some of the times we recommend supplements in magnesium in particular where the back of the bottle recommends 3 capsules and we only want your child to have 1. So make sure to keep a lookout for that too.
Perfect. I mean, if we just step away from magnesium citrate for a second and talk supplement brands in general, I tend to see, I feel our nutritionists tend to be more likely to recommend like Thorne, Now, supplements. You mentioned California Gold for a few, Nordic Naturals. Yeah. And that's basically because the quality, our nutritionists consider the quality of those the best.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We have some other ones like Culturelle and Biocide and Botanicals. There are a lot of good, and those are all the supplements that I know I can find either on iHerb or Amrita Nutrition, which is what we use for our families. There are other supplements out there. I think there's one, Global Healing, also really good, really clean, that some families use. But more often than not, the families will ask, how is this supplement? And then I'll look at it and make sure, is this okay? Can we offer this one? Or does it have any added sugar? Is it a gummy, right? Because we don't recommend any gummies because of the added sugar. Is it a flavor? If it is a flavor, then is it a flavor that we have on the diet? It's not something like pineapple or chocolate ice cream flavor supplement. So more often than not, they're lemon or some kind of berry or no flavor. But yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. So many children's supplements are just packed with sugar. I mean, they're basically candy with vitamins added, right?
Yeah, and the same thing is there's a lot of new powder supplements out there, like you add it to your child's milk and they take it with this powder, and the same thing, you just got to look at what's inside, right? And if anyone has any questions about anything that you see, please let your staff coach know, and then your nutrition staff member can let you know what they think.
Well, before we get to Julee's 5th supplement, I'll encourage everyone, go ahead and start typing your questions into the comments box. We'll take maybe questions for 10 minutes, so get them in quickly. And I do see the one question on Instagram about raw milk. We'll get to that in a second. And we have the leucovorin question we'll be getting to as well. So Julee, what is your 5th and final supplement recommendation?
My last one is probiotics. And probiotics are the good bacteria that we want to help support our gut with. So a lot of the time we see kids come in with candida in their gut, and we help them out by doing a sort of gut cleanse protocol, which could mean any type of detox supplement. There are a few out there, but more often than not, we do also recommend a probiotic at the same time. And in terms of any child who has had antibiotics or needs antibiotics, we also recommend a probiotic at the same time as that to help keep the gut healthy and full of good bacteria. So probiotics help support digestion, nutrient absorption, mood and brain function, and help with that gut-brain connection so that we don't get brain fog. There are tons of different forms of probiotics because they all have vast amount of different strains. There are supplements that are liquid probiotics, there are powders, there are capsules, there are soft gels. More often than not, we recommend liquid and capsules. It's really good to take a probiotic on an empty stomach, though it's not always the case with a lot of our kids that can do that. So if we can get it in either before breakfast or with the last little bits of dinner, so it sits in the body and can access the gut through sleep, is also a really good time to take it.
Got it. Any recommended brands? Any favorite brands?
We have a lot of kids who take Culturelle, and there's specific ones for age ranges because probiotics are the dosages are in the strains. So it would be like 5 billion CFUs or 15 billion CFUs, 20 billion, and it has to do with the amount of bacteria. So it definitely depends on the child and the age and how much we think the child needs in terms of support. So it is different for every supplement. It is different for every child, but a lot of the times too, we do recommend a supplement that would maybe be a different from the dosage on the back. So if you're getting a Mary Ruth supplement that says by age on the back, but you're now switching to a now supplement that is just a regular dosage, we may cut the dose in half. It may be only 2 capsules versus 4 capsules or something like that. So definitely really good for a probiotic to know what the dosage is, how many billion CFUs are in there, and what the actual dosage is, because it may really differ from the back of the bottle.
Got it. How would we determine what strain might be right for what child? Is that based on symptoms the children are having? That if they're having certain kind of issues, let's say constipation or hyperactivity, they might be helped by certain strains more than others?
Yeah. So in terms of if a child has never had a probiotic before, it's kind of we have some supplements that are a safe place to start and then go from there.
Okay.
If a child has sent in an OAT, urine organic acids test, Dr. Aravind looks at all of those lab results, writes up a really great lab review, and he will go through and tell you what specific strains are needed to help support the gut bacteria. So for the more intense lab work, we are able to kind of define what we need to supplement with in terms of strains wise. In terms of probiotics in general, it's something that we should switch about every 6 months. So you're getting different strains. So you're getting different strains in your diet. So if you're coming for your first appointment and you were given a probiotic, or you want to start a probiotic at the second appointment, we should probably recommend another one. Mm-hmm. So with that too, we have families or children who have to take a probiotic daily, and we have children who are given it in their immune system enhancement protocol. So it would be like a maintenance dose for 1 week each month versus every single day.
Great. So just to recap the 5 supplements we discussed today. So we talked about vitamin D. We talked about omega-3.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about, help me out here, magnesium citrate,
yeah.
vitamin C,
and
probiotics. Perfect. All right. Well, we've got some comments and questions. Haley is saying, my kids are saying hi to Julie. Hi, kids. My favorite thing, sometimes, Julie, I'm on a call with the family and the kid, because the mom watches this webinar, the kid recognizes me and they're excited to see me, which is funny. So Ashley is asking, is it a good idea to combine magnesium and probiotics at night in a little bedtime snack?
I would separate out the probiotic to be the very last thing that your child eats. That way there's no other digesting anything before it, and it's in the last little bit, and then it sits all night without anything else.
Got it. So space it out a bit.
Yeah.
All right. I want to answer this question from Sandra about what's our opinion about leucovorin, and then Julie, you can add anything if you want to. So yeah, we've gotten a lot of questions over the last week or two about leucovorin, which is also known as folinic acid. And it was because there was a press conference, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or so at this point, where Robert Kennedy Jr., who's the director of the Department of Health and Human Services here in the U.S., announced that leucovorin might be a helpful treatment for people with autism. And it's interesting because we've known about folinic acid for 15 years. I remember about 15 years ago or so, it was brought to our attention that many children with neurological issues, but especially children who are diagnosed with autism, are more likely to have issues with absorbing folic acid. And because they have a deficiency in folic acid, but they also have problems with absorption, if they're supplemented with folic acid, they just won't, they won't absorb it. It won't cross the blood-brain barrier, so it won't help brain development. So basically, it's a waste of time. And that for those children, that folinic acid could potentially be helpful. Now, that was about 15 years ago. And, with certain children, based on testing, this was about a decade ago, we started using folinic acid. To be honest, this is my memory that I'm basing this on. Some children responded well to it, and other children, we didn't see any obvious gains. Julie, what is our current, or do we use folinic acid with certain children at this point?
I would say it's definitely something that we need to see lab work on. We never recommend folinic acid without seeing lab work. If you don't have it, you need to get it so that we can discuss it. But I would say, in terms of your point of seeing benefits and not seeing benefits, there's also a negative side to it as well. So even though it may help a lot of kids, it might even trigger or worsen hyperactivity, which is definitely something we don't want. But it 100% needs to be seen via lab work that we recommended. Something like folate and getting more iron and absorption. We just talked about it today. We definitely would prefer to get what we need from food, and not from supplements. But if supplements are needed, then we go from there.
Yeah. And this is just my own feeling on the subject. I was very annoyed because I felt that the way that folinic acid was characterized in the media was not actually a reflection of what was actually said at that press conference. During the press conference, basically what I watched it, and my understanding was this is a potential thing that could be helpful for kids with autism. And what I heard was, this is a cure. That was what was and it is definitely not a cure. I can say that, but that was also not what was communicated at the press conference. For certain children, it's a helpful additional supplement, but yeah, definitely not a cure.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good reminder that, supplements are not medication. They're not a cure-all to end something. They're to help support the body. They're to help support the body to get where we need to be to then, feel and act, better, right? So it's not a cure-all. Any pill that's telling you that it's a cure-all, I would
some supplements that are recommended by our nutrition team for one child will produce amazing results. Like honestly, sometimes almost miraculous with certain supplements. But then with another child, no apparent changes, and this is part of the challenges of understanding physiology. I think we probably understand 5%, I'm making up a number, of what needs to be understood about how the brain develops and physiology. Maybe at Doman International, we understand 10% and the rest of the world 3% or something like that. But I think there's a ton to be learned. And so why certain children respond to certain treatments and other children don't, it's not always clear. because sometimes they might even both have deficiencies in that area, but maybe one child can absorb that supplement and the other kid can't, right? Or maybe with one kid that supplement, might interact with something else that's happening in the child's life in a positive way, and for another kid not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, that goes for like the whole program too. You could have 6 months of creeping and crawling and your child is perfect, or 6 months of creeping or crawling and your child's functional. So it happens. The supplement program is customized to help see where we can help support your child. Maybe things don't work. Maybe there's an intolerance. Maybe there's an allergic reaction, and we have to pivot in some way. But it's definitely, a conversation that you have to continue to keep that line open with your staff coach to let them know every little detail that you see and notice from the supplements or any food or any other part of the program.
All right, Julie, I want you to try to answer this one short because it's not supplement related, but it did come in early on Instagram. What are your thoughts on raw milk and dairy to help an underweight child gain weight?
I would say that that's not the route we at Doman International go to help gain weight. We do. Our initial nutrition program does eliminate all dairy. We could debate the raw milk versus, dairy-free milk all day long. I can't make you not try the raw milk and give it to your child, but here at Doman International, we would eliminate all dairy, and you could talk to your staff coach about how to help introduce foods and supplements to help your child gain weight.
Yeah. And always just say one quick thing, because, I know that there's still an idea around the world that because milk has calcium, it builds strong bones. But the reason why milk is rich in calcium is because cows eat grass. And grass has a lot of calcium in it. So green vegetables have a lot of calcium in them. So better to eat green vegetables, which are much better for health and brain function than milk. Okay.
May I say
Sorry,
something?
Julie. You want to? Oh yeah. Through.
I just wanted to say, because I have the wonderful job of talking to all of our English speaking families, at least in the very beginning, and I feel that everybody agrees with me when I say that we come from a position of there is no one size fits all. Everything has to be truly customized to each individual kid. It doesn't matter if they're the same age, same diagnosis, anything. Everyone, it's like your fingerprints. It's just that individual. But I think this session, diving into really what that means, and it's so tempting as a parent to think, oh, I know that this food or this supplement is considered to be pretty healthy, and so I could do that without worrying about tipping the boat, but the fact is it may tip the boat for your kid. That doesn't mean that it isn't good for the kid across the street, but for your kid to be able to know whether it's going to be a good thing or not, you really have to be ready to just dive deep and get labs and have proper guidance so that you don't have setbacks. So I just want to say that, because as a mother too, and Julie, I'm sure you feel the same way. It's like, oh, it would be so nice if it was just like, oh, this is awesome for everybody. Sweet. Let's just go and do that. But it's a lot more specific. So
there's definitely more details to consider when thinking about supplements, and nowadays when you can basically be your own pharmacist and just go to any store or order anything on Amazon and it's there within 24 hours, and you could just start adding it to something and you don't know what else it may trigger.
Yeah. We have another question, Julie, about B12. B12. What are our thoughts on that?
B12 is a very important supplement, but it is definitely one that is more niche than the ones that I've recommended. So if you have any questions about it, please gear them towards your staff coach to then ask your nutrition consultant, just because it's something that we would have to either look at the previous program or ask for more lab work to see how it can be helpful.
And Julie, I don't recognize this parent's name that's asked it on Instagram. So, I mean, if this is new family to the Doman method. Do we usually, for children who are deficient in vitamin B, would we usually go to a B complex supplement? Usually?
Yeah. And typically, it would be recommending a B complex supplement, which could be either a liquid or a capsule, and then depending on from there what the dosage would be, how much liquid, how many capsules. But it's very rare we have to recommend the specific B vitamin. Sometimes we do have to recommend the specific B vitamin and the B complex, depending on if they need more of something and we can't find the proper dose in a supplement that is clean. We'll do that, but it is definitely need to see lab work, definitely need to make sure that there is an issue before we add supplementation.
Yeah, I actually am vitamin B deficient personally. So, apparently I have some kind of underlying absorption issue with vitamin B. But Dr. Aravind looked at my lab work and recommended it. So it's, I'm kind of making your point. You need lab work.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Myra's made a comment here. Let's see. Everything I need to know about supplements I learned from the Doman method. When I started using supplements, people would question me 20 years later. Everyone is swallowing supplements like crazy. I still have a conservative approach because I can make informed decisions. Yeah, absolutely right. And actually, I mean, this is maybe a topic for another day, but I do see a lot of biomedical approaches now where I'm not joking, we'll see 3-year-old children taking 20, 30, 40 supplements. And I just think it's straight up crazy. I think it's, I think that because even if the person is a physician and reading lab work and recommending all those supplements, there's just no possible way you can take 20, 30, 40 supplements and be sure of what the contraindications, right, might be of taking multiple supplements at the same time. Like no one has ever studied when you take 20, 30 supplements, what happens. And especially with children who have a very delicate physiological system. So you have to take a conservative approach. I mean, the first principle of medicine is do no harm. And I just think that some people are getting reckless with supplements.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of the times in the initial nutrition program, we'll go in and we'll just highlight only the supplements, that are needed. We've gone through the labs, we see the supplement list, and which ones are important, which ones aren't really doing anything based on the lab work. And then, we go from there, but it's definitely not recommended to be on so many. And, there's a lot of, human error there. You're not doing 3 supplements, you're doing 23 supplements, and what's mixing with what, how many times a day are they getting something? Are there, there's just a lot there to have to navigate and
I mean, even with a B complex supplement, which I take, and for many children that are deficient is great. I know a family with a child, a teenager diagnosed with autism who took a B complex supplement and became violent just taking the supplement. And I don't say that to say B complex is wonderful for most people who need it, but some kids are going to have negative reactions, and some people just don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, so I'd say some of the biomedical approaches with way too many supplements are concerned, and then also anyone who just gives blanket supplement recommendations to every kid. I've also seen certain approaches like that where every child on the program is just given a specific list of supplements. How can you know that without, doing lab testing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Last question, Julie. So Myra's asking about, is there specific testing for folinic acid? Is that something that we need to talk about, or like, what are your thoughts on that?
Probably, I would say that we would probably need to see the whole big picture of blood work. Mm-hmm. And no stool, no urine, but just the whole blood work and what's going on to make sure to make that decision on if it's needed or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. All right. I guess I think we've gotten to all the questions. Any final thoughts, Julie, about supplements in general?
Should be done under guidance of the nutrition team, and please do not start all supplements on the same day.
Yeah. Good advice. Colleen, any thoughts you want to share?
It was a great session, and I hope, Julie, you can come back again soon. I know this is an area where a lot of families have a lot of confusion, but also a lot of trepidation, because they have a sense that this is important, but they really don't know even where to start. So, if they haven't yet come for an appointment, it can help them to just know, here are some steps that we recommend, and, take it one step at a time.
100%, yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Julie, thanks so much for joining today. Colleen, thanks for being here. Everyone, have a good rest of your week. We'll be back next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.